All right, lovely people. Welcome back to Alex's Adventures in English. Welcome to my channel. Hello, hello, hello. You can see 3 people connected right now. Welcome back to Alex's Adventures in English. Just some echo. Okay, there we go. Hello guys, welcome to this live session. Hello Hag. How are you? Welcome to this live session. How are you doing? You doing fine? Hello, mate. Good to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're doing fine. I'm really glad to hear that. Tell us, where are you watching from? There we go. Now I'm recording the session. Okay, that's great. And perfect. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Mendoza, Argentina. All right, welcome to this live session. Hag from Mendoza, Argentina. I'm really glad you've been able to join me. You've been able to join this live session, and are you ready to learn some English? Today, the idea is to do a bit of reading practice. We'll repeat after Luke Thompson. We'll shadow him too. And apart from that, we're going to break down his pronunciation, right? Break down the pronunciation of each sentence of this story. A short story he read some time ago called The Doppelganger. Right? A doppelganger is like a double, you know, like somebody on Earth who's exactly the same as you. And it's a bit like the connotation this word has is a bit negative, in the sense that there's somebody else on Earth exactly like you. Okay? So it's quite an interesting story. And of course, you should everyone, guys, you should go to Luke's English podcasts and watch the original episode where he explains everything about the story. He breaks down key vocabulary from the story, pronunciation too, right? And in this episode, actually, what we're going to do is to do an exercise. He suggests nearly the end of this, nearly at the end of this episode. This is, so it's quite interesting, right? To do an exercise he proposes at the end of this episode, nearly at the end of this episode. So anyway, Hag, welcome to this live session. I hope you're ready to practice some English. And so let me give you some context before we begin. In the meantime, tell me a bit about you, more about you, Hag. Have you been learning English for a very long time? Do you like British English? Yeah, mate, let's get started. All right. So, I was about to tell you that this video doesn't intend to replace Luke's original episode. In fact, I highly recommend you to go and check it. Go and check it out in full. You can find it either on teacherluke.co.uk, here on YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's one of his most popular episodes, over 2 million views, and for good reason, of course. And the story itself comes from a fantastic book titled Nothing Short of 100, Selected Tales from 100 Word Story. It's a collection of short stories from 100wordstory.org. I think I can... Yeah, this is much better without the headphones. You tell me if you can't hear me, just in case. So anyway, I was telling you that this book is a collection of short stories from the website 100wordstory.org. And these stories were published. This story actually was published by Outpost 19, a user, right? And was put together by Grant Faulkner, Lynn Mundell, and Joshua Michael Stewart. Okay, I'll leave that information in the episode description, never mind. And so if you're an English learner or teacher, this book is a gem. Bite-sized stories, ideal for listening, shadowing, and classroom use. Right? Here's what we're gonna do today. Let me guide you. We'll go bit by bit, right? First, Luke will read a line. I will play a short clip from his episode, and we're going to repeat after him. Okay? That's step 1. Step 2, I'll break it down for you. I'll break down the pronunciation. Okay? Sounds, linking, features, right? All that jazz. And step 3, Luke will read it again, and we're going to shadow him, which means that we're going to try and speak at the same time as him, okay? We're trying to match his delivery as closely as we can. So that's the challenge. And mind you, later on, I'll leave timestamps in the video description below, so you can skip around or rewatch any bit you want from this episode. Okay? So let's crack on. Right, let's begin, guys. So we're gonna start watching the episode. Okay. All right, let's pay attention to it, guys.
Let's move on. Just some pronunciation. We're nearly finished here. We've been going for about an hour. Here's some pronunciation. It's really important that you read the story out loud as well. It would be a very good idea. It would be wise. So I'd like you to repeat the story after me, line by line. Try to say each line with no pauses between words, and notice which word has the main emphasis or stress in each line, and just don't sound like a robot, okay? So I don't want you to do this. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. No, it should be I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay? So just repeat the story after.
Okay, this is very important. Okay, these are some tips he gives us. He's going to read the story line by line. We're going to repeat after him and to try and say each line with no pauses. Okay? And there are some words that have been highlighted, that are in bold. Okay? And for example, see, you, and the second you in the first sentence, we've got to stress those words. All right. So that's important, guys. We've got to bear that in mind. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Remember, first we listen, we watch and listen. Then we repeat after Luke Thompson. Then wait for my breakdown, my pronunciation breakdown. And after that, we'll shadow Luke. Okay? So it's quite a challenging session, this one. But we can do it. We can pull it off, okay? We can pull it off. Which means to succeed in doing something very difficult. That's to pull something off. Okay? So, alright. So, guys, let's get started.
To me, here we go. Doppelganger. So I'm going to leave a pause after I say the line, and that's where you repeat it. I'll say it twice, then you repeat it, and then I'll move on, okay? Doppelganger. Doppelganger.
Okay, Doppelganger. That's the title. Doppelganger.
I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you.
Now we'll repeat after him. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Alright guys, repeat after me if you want to. And
Wait a minute.
okay, before he continues, I'm gonna break it down now. Just give me 1 sec. And we'll get that started. Okay, we've got... Alright. So let's get started, guys. This is I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. And I'm gonna draw some... Okay, that you can't see that, can you? Let's do it with this color. Okay, yeah. So we've got... Can you see that? Let me try and... Yeah, you can see that. Perfect. Okay, so I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Remember that we have to stress these words. Alright? I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. And, okay, to start with, we've got to connect. We've got to link the first 2 words. I almost. This is what we see here, actually. There's a linking ya sound, which is this one. Okay? A linking ya sound. So I almost, which some phoneticians claim that is part of the word for words ending in the diphthong I, I. So that links naturally with the next word. I almost. Okay? I almost. Yeah, we've got that there. And yeah, okay, that's better. That's linking up, which doesn't look like. Okay, let me do this. Yeah, linking ya. Let me see if I can draw it more clearly. Because, yeah, I'm trying to juggle, guys. So it's a linking ya sound. You can see it here anyway. Alright? You can see it there. Okay, I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. And after that, guys, we've got... he drops the t sound, the t in the word didn't. He doesn't say didn't, but didn't. Okay, we forget about that. So he doesn't say didn't see. I almost didn't see the you. Didn't see the you. And there we go. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, so 3 consonants together, n, or the n, the t, and the s. We drop the one in the middle. Didn't see the you who wasn't you. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. And he drops this consonant too. Wasn't you. Okay? That's explained here. And apart from that, guys, what he does as well is to stress both instances of you. Why? Because this is called contrastive focus. Because he's talking about 2 different people. Okay. So we get this. This is typically in everyday life. It typically happens when we greet somebody. We say, how are you? I'm doing fine, and you? Okay, and we stress the you at the end because we're interested in the other person now. Okay? So he stresses both times these words. So I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. All right. Now, guys, we've got a shadow look. Let's give it a try. Remember, you've got to, you listen. Actually, we're not going to listen to him again without actually speaking ourselves. As soon as he starts speaking, we try and speak at the same time. We're going to try a few times because it's difficult to get it right. So, let's give it a try, guys.
You who wasn't you. Wait a minute. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't. You repeat it, and then I'll move on, okay? Doppelganger.
Sorry, guys. Just give me one
I
second.
almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Wait a minute.
Now, guys, remember, I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you.
I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, your turn. Go.
He does it.
Okay, your turn. Go. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you.
He makes a pause, right?
You who wasn't you.
Between you and who.
Wait a minute. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, your turn. Go.
Right, there we go. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you.
I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, your turn. Go. I almost. Okay, your turn. Go.
Again.
I almost.
Let's do it again.
Okay,
guys.
your turn. Go.
Wait.
You who wasn't you. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Wait a minute. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, your turn. Go. I almost.
All right. And something else, guys. Something else I like to point out is that when he says the word you, all right, what he does is to do this with his lips. Actually, all speakers of this who speak with this accent do it. Southern Standard British English, which is to start with his lips rounded, right, like this, you, but then they become more rounded. You. Actually, some phoneticians claim that this is a diphthong, right, rather than a long oo sound, which means diphthong means that it's made up out of two sounds. So actually an oo plus a wa sound at the end. So oo. But never mind, guys. The most important thing for you to get now is that you have to do this ooh. Pay attention to how he does it.
I almost didn't see the you.
The you.
Who wasn't you.
Who wasn't you. Okay.
Okay, your turn. Go. I almost.
All right. So let's move on, guys. Let's continue with the next line. And to do that, just let me do this. Okay. All right, but before doing that, let me ask you guys, did you get it right? How did it go? The first sentence. Did you struggle? Did you struggle to pronounce it? Did you nail it? To nail something means to be able to do it, perfectly well. That's to nail something. If you can, let me know in the comments. And of course, I've got 3 people viewing right now, watching right now this session. If you want to introduce yourselves, that'd be great, guys. And you did it. Perfect, mate. Very good, Hag. Excellent. All right, so let's move on, guys. Let's continue.
Next. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
Now we've got to repeat. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. Okay, you can repeat after me. And we can listen to him again, right?
I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. Okay, yeah, repeat after me. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. This is cafe, French cafe. Okay, cafe. Good. That's the first step. Now, let's move on to let's break down the pronunciation of this sentence, guys. Okay, this is the sentence. All right, we can even listen to it again so that we can have a better idea of how to Analyze it.
I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
I was walking past. First of all, this is I was with a schwa, okay? This is with a schwa sound. This is a symbol. I was walking past. This L there is always silent. We don't say walk, but walk. Walk. Okay? Walk. And okay, so we don't say walk, but walk. Walk. With a long O sound. And there's something else I like to share with you.
Walk.
We've got walk, walk,
Walk.
Walk.
walk, walk, walk. That's American English, right? Walk, walk.
Walk.
And the main difference here is that the O is longer in British English, in these accents. This is walk, walk. But in American English, walk, walk, walk. It's shorter, okay? And you can even find walk, walk, walk as well in American English. For example,
Walking papers.
walking papers, walking papers.
Walk of life.
Walk of life, walk of life. But they don't pronounce the L in American English either, They don't pronounce it. That's to bear in mind, guys. All right? Let's continue. So, we've got... silent L. We don't say walking, but walking. Walking past the outdoor tables. We can listen to look again and pay attention to how he pronounces it.
I was walking past the outdoor...
Past the, he doesn't say past the, he drops the t at the end of this word. Walking past the outdoor,
Next. I was walking past the outdoor...
The outdoor. All right, he says the outdoor. But you know that this word, the word, this is called definite article. That's the name it has in English, the definite article. So, that's not very clear. But apart from its name, what I want you to think about is that this word can be pronounced as the, as the, and as the. This is something I mentioned to you before. And in isolation, we say the, or when we want to emphasize, make emphasis on the word for some reason. For example, the story A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness begins with a narrator saying, a monster showed up just after midnight. Connor was awake when it came. He'd had a nightmare. Well, not a nightmare, but the nightmare. Yeah, so not a nightmare, the nightmare. Okay? And then he continues saying that the one he'd been having a lot lately, the one with the screaming, with the wind and the screaming, the one that always ended with, go away. Okay, So anyway, the point I'm making here is that in this story, a monster calls this Connor, the protagonist, is having a nightmare, a recurrent nightmare. Okay, so when the narrator says he'd had a nightmare, so he had a nightmare. First, he says, right? He had a nightmare, a nightmare. But then he says, well, not a nightmare, the nightmare. Okay? It's not just any nightmare. It was the one he'd been having a lot lately. It was a specific nightmare. So he's making emphasis on the word the. And so he pronounces it as such, the nightmare. Alright, and that's the way you'll find it in isolation too in dictionaries. The. But in connected speech, we hardly ever pronounce it as the. We usually say the, or the. Okay, either with a schwa, like this, or this is a symbol for the th guys in English when there's vibration in the vocal folds. The. Although it doesn't look like it, but this one does. Or the with a neutral, the e, the, and basically in a nutshell, we say the before a consonant, right before a consonant, the door, the car, the problem. But the right before a vowel sound. So in this case, we've got the outdoor. This is a vowel sound, so we have to say the outdoor. We don't have to say it, but we that's what native speakers do. The outdoor tables. Okay. So pronunciation here with a neutral e sound. The outdoor tables of the French cafe. Yeah. Okay, so we've got, this is the weak form of the word of, but this is of with a schwa, okay? Of the French cafe. And this is, okay, this is pronounced as the, of course. The, because the next word begins with the f sound, with the letter F. And in connected speech we say the French cafe. Okay? And cafe, just to give you some more help to pronounce it, this is pronounced with the same vowel sound as in cat. We say cafe. Okay? Alright. Are you doing fine, guys? How's it going? If you've got any questions, more questions, guys, or any questions. Hag, you've got a question. That means él caminó y pasó por un café francés. Very good. Look at that. Yeah, this is Spanish. Yeah, this is my native language, actually. Thank you for that, for the question, Hag. Yes, it means that él caminaba, right? Actually, I was walking. Yo estaba caminando, right? Yes. So, él estaba caminando. And, sí, estaba pasando de largo, right? This is to walk past, cuando pasamos de largo. Vamos pasando por un lugar, okay? Por un café francés. Yes, exactly. Café francés. Exactly. Very good. So, but to be more precise, por las mesas que estaban afuera. Okay, the doors, the tables outside. Okay, the outdoor tables. Outdoor tables are tables located outside a cafe. Okay. So, but yes. So that's basically what this sentence means. Okay. So this is the sentence. No, that one. Okay, there we go. Yes. Very good. So, okay. Any more questions? Guys, you tell me. You tell me if you've got any questions. And I'll give them a go. Okay? All right. So, yeah. So I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. And yeah. And to give you another translation also of this sentence would be: pasaba junto a las mesas al aire libre del café francés, right? Del café francés. O iba caminando junto a las mesas al aire libre del café francés. That's another translation in Spanish. Guys, for any Spanish speakers out there, including you, of course, hack. And but yeah, that'll be the L doesn't go only in American English, right? The L in the word walking, that L, hack. The L in walking is not pronounced in, it's neither pronounced in in American English, right? Nor in British English. So it's not pronounced. We don't say in American English with walking. Yeah, we don't say walking. We say walking in British English. Walking with a long O sound. And in American English, we can say walk with a short O sound. O, shorter. It's shorter than in British English. Walk. And we can even say it with walk. You will hear it too. A walk. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. You'll hear in American English. All right? And yeah. So we drop it. It's a silent L in this word. This one. We don't say walking, okay? And just let me do the following, guys. Okay. Just in case, because I've got this. Let me see if. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right. Yeah, so any more doubts, you let me know. Give me a shout. Okay? Give me a shout. Which is something very commonly said by the British. Give me a shout. Okay? If you need something, give me a shout. All right. So we've got, let's continue. And we've got the next sentence. the next sentence. All right, before moving on to the next sentence, we've got to shadow this one, right? So let's give it a go. Okay, let's give it a go.
Or tables of the French cafe.
Let's listen to it again. We listen to it
I
again,
was
and then
walking
we'll shadow
past
it.
the outdoor tables of the. I almost didn't see the you who wasn't you. Okay, your turn. Go. I almost.
That's the previous sentence. Yeah, that's the previous
Next.
sentence.
I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
And it's outdoor, right? Outdoor. Anyway.
I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
Okay, I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. Let's give it another go.
Of the French cafe. Next. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe. I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
Okay? Did you nail it, guys? How did it go? You let me know in the comments. Don't forget to give it a try. Good, good, good. Okay. Shall we continue? You let me know in the comments how it went, alright?
And just at the last second.
And just at the last second. Remember, we've got to repeat after him first. And just at the last second. And just at the last second. Now let's break it down. Okay. This is and just at the last second. Remember to stress the words just, and second. Just and second. Just and second. Okay. So, to start with, he drops the D here. He said, and just at the last second. And this is something, it's something technical, but it's something very important in English, which is called catenation, which is just a fancy name for linking the final consonant in a word with the first vowel sound in the next word, or if there's only one vowel sound right after the word ending in a consonant sound. So we get, for example, just that. Okay. It's like we pronounce only one word, just that, made out of two syllables. Just that, rather than saying just at, but just at. Okay? And after that, we get something called dentalization, which means that, in this case, the T at the end of at becomes, what have I done? Let me undo that. There we go. This means that the T, or we can talk about the letter T and the sound T. Okay, we can make that distinction. the letter T and the sound, the consonant sound T in English. I'm glad to hear that, mate, that you nail it. Very good. We've got the T at the end of ut becomes prepares, anticipates the pronunciation of the next sound, which is the, right? The. So the ut ends up, we becomes dentalized because the pronunciation ends up being like this. The tongue is pressed against the front upper teeth. At the. So we say, and just the last second, and just the last second, just the last second. It's difficult to do these, guys. No worries if you can't do it. It's maybe a bit too advanced at this stage, but it's good to know it just in case you want to practice it, you know. But anyway, let's move on. This is something easier to do, which is to drop the T at the end of lasts. This is a long R sound, as in car. This is last second. Let's watch Luke Thompson again.
And just at the last second.
Last second.
Of the French cafe.
That was the previous sentence.
And just at the last second.
At the last second. So we drop the final T, the letter C, or the consonant sound T at the end of last, and we say last second. We pronounce only one S, a long S sound. We say just to the last second. This is something I mentioned in a previous episode where I analysed, remember these lines from the Harry Potter game? You know, the narrator narrating the Harry Potter game saying, Muggle slept, as unsuspecting Muggle slept, okay? Muggle slept. Again, we do the same here. But in this case, we drop the final T at the end of last. Okay, that's what we do there. Alright, let's move on, guys. Now we've got the shadow look. Okay, we've got to shadow him as best as possible. So, are you ready for that? Tell me, of course, if you've got any doubts. You can drop your comments and your doubts in the chat, of course. And, okay. Let's listen to him once again, and then we'll shadow look.
And just at the last second, and I was walking past the outdoor tables of the French cafe.
That's the previous sentence, of course.
And just at the last second, and just at the last second.
Second. Schwa. The schwa sound, I usually talk about it is the most frequent sound in English, and it's very important because many words have it right because it's the most frequent sound, and it's very small. It's a very small sound, like second, second. You know, just at the, and you nearly open your mouth, okay?
And just at the last second.
Again.
And just at the last second. And just at the last second.
Right, let's move on, guys.
I caught a familiar hand gesture.
I caught a familiar hand gesture. We've got to repeat that. Remember, guys? Repeat after me again. Let's repeat after Luke Thompson again. I can repeat after him, and you can repeat after me. Okay?
I caught a familiar hand gesture.
I caught a familiar hand gesture. You repeat after me. And now let's move on to the next slide. Okay. All right. Good to hear that, mates, that you're ready. Yeah. Ready as you'll ever be. Okay? That's the beginning of the film About a Boy with Hugh Grant. I think that there's a show host that asks one of the participants, "Are you ready? As you'll ever be." I think he says there after that, as you'll ever be, right? As you'll ever be, as you will ever be. That's what it means. As you'll ever be. Okay, let's move on, guys. So, I caught a familiar hand gesture. I caught, this is a long O sound in British English, which is represented with this symbol. It's like not let me draw it again because this is a mess. Okay, there we go. And these are like two dots, which indicate that this is a long vowel sound in these accents. But in American English, it's different. Did you know that?
Caught.
British English, caught. But American English?
Caught.
Cart.
Caught.
Cart. Cart. It's with a long R sound. Not that long, right? But it's a bit like cart. Cart. You always notice that in American English, it's like the jaw drops a bit as they pronounce sounds. Cart, cart, cart. But in British English, it's coat, coat. American English, cart, cart. And yeah. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, I caught a familiar hand gesture. And we've got another instance of catenation. Quarter. Okay? Two words pronounced as one. Quarter. caught a familiar hand gesture. Remember, the catenation happens when one word ends in a consonant sound and the next begins with a vowel sound. So we say quarter, quarter, quarter. I caught a familiar hand gesture. Then hand gesture. Before that, let me tell you something. In British English, you don't pronounce the R letter. Okay? Which is something quite interesting to mention, because in American English, most speakers will pronounce the letter R. Although, did you know that in British English the letter is called R? In standard Southern British English and RP, in these accents, the letter is called R. But in American English, it's called R. R. That's the letter of the, of the alphabet. In the alphabet, you say R. R. That's the name of the letter. In American English, in most accents in American English, by the way, because there are some parts in the US where they don't pronounce the R as in standard Southern British English, but we're not going to get into that today. Okay? So, anyway, this is important to bear in mind. In British English, we don't pronounce the sound if the next word is a consonant sound or there's a pause right after it. Right after the word ending with a letter R. So, for example, let me give you an examples to make this clear. In British English, in standard Southern British English, you'll say park, park. Okay. In the spelling, you will say this is like this. Park, park. Right after the letter R, there's a consonant sound. That's the consonant, right? K. So we don't say park in Southern Standard British English, nor in RP, received pronunciation, which is another accent spoken in the UK. So we say park. Luke Thompson says park. But in American English, you will say park. Park. Okay? Then in British English, you will hear this. Car. Car. Alright? Because right after it comes a silence, comes a pause. Okay? Car. Car. But in American English, you will usually hear car. Car. Alright, going back to familiar. I caught a familiar hand gesture. Right after the word familiar comes the word hand, which begins with a consonant sound. Ha, ha, ha. This H, right? So we say, Luke Thompson says, familiar hand gesture. Familiar hand gesture. But let's suppose that the word right after it were in. There was something familiar in her eyes. There was something familiar in her eyes. In that case, in standard Southern British English, you do pronounce the sound R or the letter R. Because familiar in, let me write it down for you. Familiar in. Okay, right after it comes a vowel sound, which is the only case wherein in Luke Thompson's accent, actually not, yeah. If you've got the letter R right and right after it comes a vowel sound, yeah, that's the only case where you'll pronounce the letter R in this accent. This is not at the beginning of the word, but that's in the word red, for example, that's at the beginning of the word, which is clearer. But in this case, you've got it at the end of a word. You've got the letter R at the end of a word. And so you say familiar in. I saw something familiar in her eyes. Familiar in. It's a soft r sound, linking the two words. That's why it's called linking r. This is called linking r. Okay? Anyway, let's go back to these dialogue, guys. Actually, this story, the short story. So, I caught a familiar hand gesture. Hand gesture, that's a compound noun. Two nouns. Hand, gesture. Right? In Spanish, you say hand, mano, gesture, gesto. So this is hand gesture. This functions as a unit, and usually in compound nouns in English, we stress the first item, the first word in the compound noun. So we say hand gesture. Okay? Let's listen to that once again.
I caught a familiar hand gesture.
Hand gesture. Did you notice that? He doesn't say, I caught a familiar hand gesture. I caught a familiar hand gesture. But I caught a familiar hand gesture, which is not the same. Okay? All right, we can continue. This is the same. This sound is, the symbol represents the A sound, as in cats. Okay? Cat's hand. Now we've got the shadow look. Let's give it a go. Have you got any questions? Anyway, if you do have any questions, guys, drop them in the comments below. Okay. I'll wait for your questions while we shadow Luke Thompson. Let's give it a go.
You.
And guys, before I forget, if you're watching this, if you've just started watching this now, this live session now, later on, I'll be leaving timestamps in the episode description that will allow you to navigate the episode to the bits you're interested in. Okay? Just like a normal episode on YouTube. Not a live session that you can't, you don't know what is said when. Anyway, let's go back. We're about to shadow Luke Thompson pronounce one sentence.
And looked again. Hand gesture. You. I caught a familiar hand gesture. I caught a familiar hand gesture. You. I caught a familiar hand gesture. You.
Okay? I caught a familiar hand gesture. Caught a familiar hand gesture. Did you get it, guys? Okay. If you didn't, keep practicing. Keep practicing. As they say, practice makes perfect. Okay? Which in Spanish means la práctica hacia el maestro. This is for Spanish speakers out there. Okay. Anyway, and if you don't speak Spanish, you learn something. That's what Spanish speakers say. La práctica hace al maestro. Practice makes perfect. Okay? Like this. Practice makes... What am I doing? Sorry. Practice makes perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Practice makes perfect. All right. Now we've got to continue with the next line, don't we? Let's continue, guys.
And looked again.
And looks again. And looks again. In this case, we've got reduced form of, rather than saying and, this is an, he drops the d at the end. He says and looks again, looks again. Catenation once again, guys. The ending of looked. We join the words looked again, looks again, looks again. So, and looks again, and looks again. Some speakers in the UK might say again, again, again. Usually older speakers in these accents. So, again, and looks again. Let's continue. Let's shadow look, okay?
And looked again.
Looks again. Again.
And looked again.
And looks again.
And looked again.
Next sentence.
It couldn't have been you, though, my love.
It couldn't have been you, though, my love. That's a bit more difficult than a more difficult sentence than the previous. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Got to break it down. Okay, couldn't have been you, though, my love. Okay, first of all, we've got two options here at the very beginning. We could say it couldn't, or we can say it couldn't. The T or the sound T can become K right before a K sound to anticipate. This is called assimilation of place. In a way, what we're doing here, if we do this, or if native speakers do this, because they usually do it, is to anticipate the pronunciation, the articulation of the next sound. So it couldn't, or it couldn't. In a more careful pronunciation, you would say it couldn't. But in more rapid speech, you will say it couldn't. Then you've got, you remember that this is a silent L. You don't say couldn't. Okay? This is couldn't. You never pronounce the L there. You say couldn't. And in this case, given that have is an auxiliary verb, which means it's not the main verb, as in sentences like I have a dog, for example, el verbo tener in Spanish. This is the auxiliary verb, which means that it's a helping verb, right? It couldn't have been you though, my love. Right? This is in Spanish. This is the verb haber. Okay, have. It couldn't have been you though, my love. No podrías haber sido vos. No podrías haber sido vos. Okay, so this is haber. Anyway, going back to English. It couldn't have been you though, my love. It couldn't have. As this is an auxiliary verb, this is not the main verb, we go for the weak form, okay, weak pronunciation of, we don't say have, but have with a schwa, and we omit the h sound at the beginning. Actually, Luke Thompson does that, and we can listen to him once again.
It couldn't have been you.
Couldn't. He doesn't say couldn't, couldn't. It couldn't have been.
And looked again. And looked again. It couldn't have been you, though, my love.
Do something for you guys. I'm gonna slow it down a bit.
And looked again. And looked again.
Now.
It couldn't have been you.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. Couldn't. So what he does is to drop the H, let's put it that way. Let's put it in that way. And he connects the final T at the end of couldn't with a schwa in have. So couldn't have. So let's suppose that this is, we add the schwa here. Couldn't have. So what he's doing here is catenation. Okay? Connecting the final consonant in couldn't with the first vowel sound right after it. Couldn't have been. Couldn't have been. It couldn't have been you. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Okay? It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Again, stressing you. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. You'll see that his voice does this. It couldn't have been you. You, though, my love. And then it goes up again. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. And this is though. It's not pronounced though. It's not pronounced tough. It's though. Oh. Diphthong. Oh. Though. This word. That's though. Okay. So we've got there. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Alright, any questions, guys? Please let me know in the comments. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, of course. Okay, so it couldn't have been you though, my love. And yeah. Okay. So we might say, pero no pudo haber sido tú, mi amor. That's one way of saying that. Pero no podrías haber sido vos, mi amor. That's more in Argentina. Okay. Aunque no podía haber, no podrías haber sido tú, mi amor. All right, those are possible translations in Spanish. Okay. Let me see if you've got any questions in the chat. We don't pronounce that have. A great question, Hack. We don't pronounce the initial h sound in have, and we pronounce it in its weak form. We don't say have, but have. Okay? Have. It couldn't have, of. Mainly, its pronunciation ends up being of, so that it gets connected with a previous sound, which is, in this case, t. Couldn't have. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. And this is called, by the way, guys, a full rise tone. This is a bit more advanced, guys, but anyway, you can go back to it whenever you want. The main point is that, yeah, the voice first goes up, falls, right? This is the falling part, and then it goes up again. Yeah, so that's the pattern drawn by the voice there. So, it couldn't have been you, though, my love. All right. And, yeah. So, yes. Anyway, any other questions, guys? So let me go here. This is actually not. This is not from this slide. Not related to this slide. This sentence. Okay. Let's continue. All right. Now we've got the shadow look. Let's do it. Let's give it a go. Anyway, you can drop more. Is it clear now, Hack? What I've just explained to you. That the word have is actually pronounced as have. As in this case, it's an auxiliary verb. It's not, he's not making emphasis on that word. Okay? It's just an auxiliary verb. And he says, it couldn't have been. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Remember that in you, he does this. You. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. Though. The beginning of the word though is pronounced just like the word, this one. The. And the symbol that represents the th here is this one. Which means that there's vibration in the vocal folds when we produce it. We say the. Right? Though. Okay, now let's give it a try. Let's try and shadow Luke Thompson. Okay, let's give it a go.
Though, my love.
But let's do it in...
It couldn't have been you, though, my love.
Okay. Let me show you something.
The love laughing.
No.
Hand was couldn't have been.
Couldn't have been. Did you see that? Couldn't have been.
It couldn't have been you.
Did you notice that? Did you notice that you? He was you. You. It's not you, but you. All right.
Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. It couldn't have been you. And looked again. It couldn't have been you, though, my love. It couldn't have been you, though, my love.
Did you get it, guys? Did you give it a try first? If you did, do let me know. Anyway, you can come back to this and keep practicing, guys. All right, but do let me know. I'd really love to know if you did, if you actually were able to nail it. Remember that verb, right? This is the verb. To nail. Nail something. Yeah, this is an A, even though it doesn't look like one. Okay, now let's move on to the next part.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been you.
It couldn't have been you. It couldn't have been you. You.
Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite.
All right. Let's move on to the next part. So let's listen to that again and repeat after him.
Hand was clasping the hand. Couldn't have been. It couldn't have been you. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite.
Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Woman opposite. And okay. Were you able to repeat that after Luke? Remember that we've got to, just in case you're new in this live session, let me read a comment made by Hag. Then it would be count of being you. It would have been, yeah. Yes, that's right. Then it would be count of being could. Yes, similar to that. It's couldn't. We do pronounce the like this. It's couldn't have. Couldn't have been. Couldn't have been. Couldn't have been. Okay, so we've got this. We're talking about the previous sentence. This was the one on it couldn't have been you. This one is this one. Okay. If we have to spell it, try to spell it, we might say like this. It couldn't have these letter guys in English. It's not pronounced as in Spanish. It's actually it's labial dental because it's pronounced with a lower lip and the upper front teeth. So you say it couldn't have been. In Spanish, we don't make that distinction. We don't say voy, which is the verb go in Spanish. We don't say voy, but boy, right? So in English, we make this distinction between the sound and the b sound, which is the one that comes right after it in this sentence. This one, b. This one is bilabial sound, which is written like this: bilabial, which means that it's produced with both lips. That's simple, guys. It's not. No, I don't want to make it too complicated for you, but yeah. So it couldn't have been, and then with a long E sound, we could represent it like this: it couldn't have been, it couldn't have been, it couldn't have been, couldn't have been, it couldn't have been, it couldn't have been you though, my love. Okay. Anyway, if you've got more questions, you know, keep sending them to me. Of course, drop them in the comments below, in the comment section. Okay. I'll keep waiting for more comments, more questions from everyone, guys. If you've just joined this live stream session, we are actually repeating after Luke Thompson this as he reads a short story. The short story is called Doppelganger, and then we break down the pronunciation, his pronunciation, and after that we try to shadow Luke Thompson, which means to try to pronounce at the same time as he does. Okay, now we are in part 7. This is extract 7 within the story. Let's listen to it. We can watch it here. Okay.
Because you're up.
And before that, I'm glad to hear that hack, that you've got it now. Great to hear that.
The other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Your heads were too close.
Sorry.
Your heads were, hand was clasping.
Again.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been you. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite.
Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. the woman opposite. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Okay, so let's break it down. We've got because, first, because. This is the informal version of because, in this accent, because, with a schwa sound here. Because your other hand, in this case, we've got a linking r sound connecting these two words. Why? Remember that in this accent, the letter R is not pronounced before consonants or pauses. Okay? You say yo in British English, in this accent, in Southern Standard British English. You say yo. Okay, which means in Spanish, tú, in the sense of belonging to you. Okay? So, tu otra mano would be here. Okay? So you say yo in this accent. But in American English, you would say your. But in this accent, in Standard Southern British English, you don't pronounce it. You don't pronounce the last consonant, right? The letter R. Except, of course, there's right after it a vowel sound. And this is the case, guys. You've got other. So he says, because your other. That's the linking up, the linking ra there. Okay? Connecting the two words. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Okay? So you've got, and yeah, in this accent you say other, in this case other hand. You don't pronounce this one there, right? Because right after it comes a consonant sound. Ha. Your other hand. Let's listen to him.
Because your other hand was clasped you.
Your other hand.
Because your other hand was clasped.
Because your other hand. Okay? Your other hand. And this is important.
Hand.
In British English we say
Hand.
But
Hand.
in American English, most people will say hand. Right? It's different. British English, hand. American English,
Hand.
Okay. Any questions, guys? All right, let's move on. So we've got the word woman in British English.
Woman.
In American English, woman. Okay?
Woman.
British English,
Woman.
Perfect. So, because your other hand was clasping. Okay, so we've got this word here, clasping. Clasp means to hold someone or something firmly in your hands or arms. Okay, to hold someone tightly, hold someone firmly. Okay, So in this case, in the story, the other person's hand was holding firmly the hand of the woman opposite, of another woman. Okay? Pay attention to the story in which there's this woman seeing this guy who resembles so much her, I think it's her boyfriend or husband, and this guy is with another woman holding her hand firmly. Okay, so clasping in British English with a long R sound. Clasp. Clasp. Okay? But in American English, they don't say clasp. They say
clasp,
clasp. Clasp. With this sound. Clasp.
clasp,
Clasp. Okay? It's different there. Okay. Alright. So we've got British English, American English, Argentinian Spanish. That's like too much. But anyway, this is for people living in the US, of course. From the US, living in Argentina, and living in the UK, of course. So, because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Alright, so we've got, let me give you
opposite,
opposites. That's British English.
Opposite. Opposite.
Opposites. That's American English. Opposites.
Opposite.
Opposites. There's usually this distinction between British English and American English in general, that when in British English it's O, in American English you usually get R. For example, you say lots. When you say a lot of people, a lot of thing, we've got a lot of things in common, okay? But in American English, you would say a lot of things in common. British English, common. American English, common. Let me...
lot,
Lots. British English.
Lot.
Lots. American English.
Common.
Common. British English. Luke Thompson's accent, actually.
common,
Common. American English. Common. Okay? Alright, let's move on. So, yeah, I think that we can try now and shadow. Yeah, let's try and shadow him. Because we say, because your other hand was with the schwa here. Even though that doesn't seem a schwa. Sorry, guys. There we go. There's was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. This is pronounced with this sound. Z. Opposite. Okay. So, all right. Let's try now and shadow Luke Thompson.
Clasping the hand of the woman opposite, because your other hand couldn't have been you, because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite, because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite.
The woman opposite, right? We accent opposite there. Because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Yeah. Got that one. Perfect. Next. Just give me 1 second, guys. Yes, I saw it coming, guys. Yeah, I will have to make a pause, guys. Just a brief pause, and I'll be right back. Okay? Just need a minute or two. Okay? And I'll be right back with you. So bear with me, which means be a bit patient, but it's just 2 minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay? And so we can continue analyzing this story, because we don't have many sentences to go. We've got just a few sentences to go and finish the story. Okay? So I'm just gonna do the following. Oh goshy. There we go. This is all right. Be right back, guys.
Your heads were too close. 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 Opposite. Your heads were too close. Your heads were too close. She was laughing. Your heads were too close. Your heads were too close. Your heads were too close. She was laughing.
Laugh. Laugh.
laugh, laugh,
She was laughing. That your head, because your other hand was clasping the hand of the woman opposite. Your heads were too close. Your heads were too close. She was laughing. She was laughing. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally in the moment. She was laughing. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally in the moment. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally laughing you do when you're close. Your heads were too close. She was laughing. She was laughing. That abandoned She was laughing. She was laughing. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally in the moment. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally in the moment. Totally in love. moment. Totally in love. I walked on. Totally in love. That abandoned laughing you do when you're totally in the moment. Totally in love. I walked on. I walked on. Love. I walked on. I walked on. Love. I walked on. I walked on. Walked on. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. Walked on. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. Heels tapping out a staccato.
staccato,
staccato, staccato, staccato,
rhythm. Heel. I walked on. I walked on. Walked on. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. No longer wanted to look at the As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. Tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. as I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. No longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. Tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. Okay.
Longer.
Longer.
Tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. Out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. The you. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer
Can you hear me clearly? All right. I hope you can hear me clearly because yes, I hope you can hear me clearly. All right. Let's continue now. So, okay, let me take this out. All right. Now let's shadow Luke Thompson.
tapping out a staccato rhythm. Heels tapping out a staccato rhythm. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you. As I no longer wanted to look at the you who wasn't you.
Okay, guys. That's it. That's the end of the story. That's the end of our session. And nicely done. Well done, guys. Congrats for your practice, for following me and following Luke Thompson and me. Now, remember, this practice is based on Luke Thompson's episode. This is episode... Let me tell you exactly which episode it is. Doppelganger. I'm gonna Google it because I don't remember. I'm sorry. This is episode 795. Okay, 795. I couldn't remember the number. Anyway, so this is that episode. This practice is based. This exercise I've done today. I did today is based on that episode. So I encourage you. Yeah, I actually insist. Yeah, go and watch or listen to the full episode of Luke's English podcasts. That'll give you. Well, he breaks down vocabulary in the story, what each, you know, what the key words actually mean, and gives you a more complete context, you know, a more complete context of the story, more background knowledge, more background context. You need more background information you need to know to understand the story. Then he breaks it down. He actually explains it in his own words. And after that, he reads another story, another short story based on the same topic, Doppelganger. And after that, he breaks down the vocabulary, I think the grammar too, and pronunciation in that last story in his premium subscription. Premium, this is LP Premium, he calls it, and it's a premium subscription you pay to get his episodes, other episodes apart from the free episodes you get on YouTube, which are great, by the way. I strongly recommend them to you. And anyway, so, and if you liked this story, check out the book it came from, Nothing Short of 100, Selected Tales from 100 Word Story, available on Kindle or on print. Or explore more stories like it at 100wordstory.org and fridayflashfiction.com. I leave you the links in the episode description below. Anyway, so thanks again to Luke, absolute legend, and thanks to you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, drop me a comment, and subscribe for more pronunciation adventures. See you next time on Alex's Adventures in English. Cheers!